In a sport where bravery is tested to the limit, Niki Lauda stood head and shoulders above those around him. His death has devastated the F1 community, and remembering him as a three-time world champion is only a small part of his incredible story. Born in 1949, the young Nikki showed a love of motorsport from an early age.
I liked to drive cars quick. This was the beginning. And then you start yourself driving a Mini, a Formula V, then Formula 3, so you work your way up. But there was never the idea to be a Formula 1 driver, because I was pragmatic enough to understand that you have to perform first and don't dream. So all I tried to do is do the best out of every formula I was in. In the old days, you had to do everything yourself. You had to find a way to find a car yourself. It was a completely different time, which I think was much better and easier than it might be today, in a way that you are in charge of everything and not management.
Despite his family's misgivings about his motor racing career, he took out a £30,000 loan to buy himself a drive with the fledgling March team in 1971. However, the team struggled, so he took another bank loan in order to secure a drive with BRM for 1973. Lauda was instantly quick, but the BRM team were in decline. He had, however, shown enough to Enzo Ferrari, who signed him for the 1974 season. Inspired by Luca de Montezemolo as team manager, the team blossomed and success followed.
I came there in the right moment and everybody was on the same track. The engineers most important, and that really made the difference.
There was a first World Championship in 1975, and he looked on course to dominate F1 for the next few years.
The car was quick, was quicker than all the others. The 12-cylinder engine, which the Ferrari had with a low center of gravity, the handling of the car, the balance, it was an unbelievable competitive car. And to win the championship in 75 was, I would say, looking back, pretty easy.
A titanic struggle with great rival James Hunt in 1976 looks set to be a battle for the ages. However, on the 1st of August, Nikki nearly lost his life in a terrible crash at the fearsome Nürburgring. His injuries were so severe that he was administered the last rites.
The only thing you could get out of this mess was with your brain, because the body was, you couldn't do anything. The body was more or less dead, but the brain was still working, and the brain convinced myself, stay awake, don't sleep, because you're gonna die, listen to whatever is happening and keep going, keep going. This was my idea, and it worked out very well, thank God.
Incredibly, just 6 weeks later, he was back behind the cockpit in his Ferrari at the Italian Grand Prix.
And I got out of the pits, couldn't drive. Second gear, fear came, I had to stop. Then I said to myself, my fault. I pushed myself too hard to perform right away again. Go there on Saturday and drive around as this is a test. And this was my new program. So I came on Saturday. I said to my team, I don't want to know any times of anybody else. I don't even want to see my times, which is normal racing, and let me drive. So put all the pressure off and got out and drove like a Sunday drive. Quicker and quicker, like the car, got the understeer, and no pressure from the race. It was Saturday. Friday I missed. And then I got out of the car, felt good, looked at the time, quickest Ferrari. Ooh, I said, interesting, Mr. Reutemann, Regazzoni, you were not in the hospital. This gave me confidence again, you know, that my fear problem was reduced.
Ronnie Peterson may have won the race, but the emotional outpouring and celebrations were for Lauda, who finished an heroic fourth, keeping his title hopes very much alive.
And then we came to the start of the race and finished 4th or 5th, I can't remember, and made it. That was it.
Ultimately, James Hunt went on to win the championship that year, but such was the enormity of what Lauda achieved in his return to the sport, Hollywood made their battle into a major motion picture.
To lose against James, who was at the best of his driving moments, with a McLaren which supported him 110%. Even in the last couple of races, the McLaren was quicker than the Ferrari. And with the combination of James, I honestly don't feel bad that I lost the championship by half a point. because James was absolutely the better man in that part of the season, with or without my accident.
With more time to recover from his injuries ahead of the 1977 season, Nikki won 3 races and racked up 7 podiums on his way to his second Formula One driver's title. But all was not well at Ferrari.
I delivered what they expected me to deliver, so I didn't feel good or bad. And then they told Gorgie, my mechanic, that he's not allowed to work on the car. And we came to Watkins Glen. The guy was outside the garage crying. I said, Gorgie, what's happening? They just told me, no, I'm not allowed to work on your car. So I went to Odette and said, are you crazy? I want my chief mechanic to work on the car. So then I brought him back for 1 race, but then they said the next race he won't be there. So fine, then I won't be there. Very simple. Championship is secured. So all these things happened, which really annoyed me, and therefore it was, for me at the time, an easy decision to leave. But to look backwards, it was the wrong decision to leave, because I would have stayed with Ferrari. I could have won more championships.
After deciding to leave Ferrari, Nikki joined the Brabham team, run by Bernie Ecclestone, for 1978. Success was fleeting, without ever capturing the glory of the Ferrari years, and at the end of 1979, he decided to retire to create Lauda Air, the charter airline that he had set up. Yet the competitive spirit still burned fiercely, and so in 1982, Lauda returned to racing with McLaren.
Ron called me all the time, what are you doing, how's life, you know, always in the right moments. And then he called me once again, and then I said, yeah, maybe let's do a test. And then I went to Donington and did another test after I cleared my negative feelings towards Formula One. And when I got him back into the car, it started again. And then I came back in '82.
1984 saw him win his home Grand Prix in Austria, on the way to winning his 3rd and final Formula One World Championship, beating teammate Alain Prost by half a point. After clinching his 3rd title, Lauda this time decided to call it quits for good at the end of the 1985 season, and he finally left the sport with 25 wins, 24 pole positions and those 3 Formula One world titles. He's been a familiar, friendly face at Grand Prix over the past few years as Mercedes non-executive chairman. Always happy for a chat, he maintained his straight-talking ways as part of one of the most dominant Formula One teams in recent history. One of the most popular men in the Formula One paddock, a world champion who fought back from near death, not only to return, but also win a further 2 world championships. Niki Lauda is someone who can quite rightly be called one of the greatest of all time, and he will be greatly missed, but never forgotten.